Bits and Bones, my name is Slady and welcome to my channel. Before we get started, I'd like to do an announcement or shout out. So today I'm going to shout out the Instagram account Spooky Cutes. I found them recently. The little felt animals and creatures that they create are just absolutely adorable and perfect for the spooky season, which it now currently is. Speaking of which, there will be no non-spooky or thriller reviews until the end of the month of October, just to keep in the vibe because you know I love October, and so does every other writer or nerdy person in the world. So, I'm going to start with some lesser known movies that I have commentary about, and then by the end of the month, hopefully we'll get more into the classics. So, today we're going to be doing a review on the movie Stairs. Stairs is a 2020 action horror movie, also called Black Ops. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't know it had two titles, and the poster that prompted me to watch it just said Stairs, because obviously a horror movie about stairs sounds ridiculously good. But when the title screen came up as Black Ops, I was super confused and thought that I was in the wrong cinematic universe. I didn't know it was more heavy on the action than the horror, so that was a twist, I guess. Some extra metadata information about Stairs and or Black Ops will be here or here. For the rest of the movie, I am going to be calling it Stairs, because one word is easier than two, and I think that was just more to the core of what was actually going on, but not really. It was an odd one. Stairs follows a Black Ops squad recently out of a heated conflict on their way to debrief their superiors. Unfortunately, the elevator is out, so they have to take the stairs. The stairwell they enter morphs into a cursed time loop put in place by a supposedly supernatural civilian that they failed to save in their last mission. The soldiers are forced to ascend or face the creeping hell below them in a fight against time and consequences. Stairs and or Black Ops got a 64% on Rotten Tomatoes, which I don't really understand. Not to mention, it's only been reviewed by critics and absolutely no general audience members, which is odd. Anyway, I don't recommend it. It's basic, and once you get the rules of engagement, it feels like you could skip over half of the movie and still get the ending and feel the same way about it. Stairs gets a D, but if you want to watch it, click off the video now so you don't get the spoilers. And I had a lot more to say about this than I thought I did, so buckle up. As I mentioned, Stairs isn't a great movie, but it's also kind of odd. It feels like there was more effort put into it than you expect from a movie with a cursed time loop stairwell storyline. The military equipment doesn't feel terribly fake, and although all the gunfire is CG, it isn't the cheapest editing that they've got out there. That said, the first however many minutes, probably 20, I grew increasingly convinced the movie was almost in black and white. They added some desaturated filter over everything that doesn't let up until the squad leaves the conflict completely. And as they re-enter the scene later with the time curse to try and change things, the filter comes back. There was enough effort put into the movie by the editors that we can see they were thinking about things like adding an increasing filter on the scene to signify time passing and the coming of dusk, but that attention to detail doesn't carry over into many other things. Now, let's talk about the characters. We don't start the narrative with an ultra-clear protagonist. You can guess, sure, but there's too many people in the squad to know who they're going to pick off first. That's one of the pros of large groups in horror movies, the con being that you don't get emotionally invested in any of them. And the first victim, well, she was some weird, laughable exposition insert. The second that the stairs they're ascending seem too long and the squad starts getting suspicious from a lack of doors, she instantly has a personal story to relate to the occasion. She talks about how she was a prisoner of war and forced by the enemy to walk stairs covered in glass all day as a way to prepare her soul. We're slapped in the face with symbolic alignment with the ascending red light of the stairs as hell, like we couldn't have figured that out on our own. But in reality, it's not even hell. This whole thing is technically just a curse from some pissed off German witch. She's the one who made this and is physically hunting them down as a ghost. She's the threat, although hell is supposedly the consequence. There's one thing that will become apparent about my preference when it comes to time travel in media. Some things are okay, and some aren't. And changeable timeline is fine as long as it keeps track of its outcomes. I prefer some form of alternate timeline if they're going to completely fuck the past. Steins Gate did it masterfully. Marvel's Endgame did not. Stairs couldn't make up its mind, and this isn't a tier of movie I expect to uphold some high standards for time travel, but it's definitely worth mentioning. As the crew gets picked off by the stair ghost, they're given opportunities to re-enter their last mission to try and stop their former selves from repeating the same mistakes. Their goal is to save the life of the woman that's now cursed them, so it doesn't happen. And their first several attempts honestly suck. They really don't try anything creative and just fail easily on their first couple of goes. I guess that was meant to make us believe that the task is harder than it looks, but really it makes the squad of trained Black Ops look incompetent. It's not entirely clear where Stairs decided to fall on the change the past versus alternate timeline spectrum. First, we see the current characters interacting with their past selves in ways that we'd already seen. They shoot at the ground somewhere to alert them slightly before they've been tipped off before. One of the squad members from the future gets shot, which presumably he had in the past too, but we didn't know it was him. Then, in one enactment, a squad member who had lost his fingers in the conflict doesn't in the new playthrough, but it doesn't poof back when they return to the stairs in the future. So the new timeline they're creating doesn't stick, I suppose, unless they manage to get to the outcome they wanted, even though in the original past the interactions they've had through several replays do still happen, and don't in the version we eventually settle on. Not to mention, obviously, the main protagonist decides to be a martyr and die in the past to save the witch and majority of her squad, so they don't have to play with hell in a staircase. But then, she'd have never been in the curse in the future to have come back and changed things in the first place. It just irks me sometimes, man. The funniest thing about the time travel and Stairs, however, is the ending. In the new version of reality they create, one of the original cast that ascended the Hell Stairs remains with the surviving group, and we fade to black as they once again look at a sign on the out-of-service elevator and go take the stairs. I'm not sure whether this is supposed to be a cliffhanger or not. Are we supposed to be on the edge of our seats wondering if there's a sequel? You could take the curse of the stairs and reapply it for a sequel, because despite the better future they created, they still left someone behind. The protagonist. Are we to assume they have to try again to save her this time? No man left behind? Or is it just supposed to be ironic? Fuck if I know. We'll find out if there ever is a sequel, which I will not be watching unless my skeleton crew on Patreon forces me into it. Speaking of which, I have a Patreon. If you would like to support me or my content in YouTube or writing, there's a link in the description below. And if you do join Skeleton Crew level, you get to vote on anything that you want me to watch and or review. As it is, my boneyard is very minimal, so if you do go on there, you are guaranteed to get whatever you want. I have yet to make a Patreon video explaining all of the tiers, but I will soon, so keep an eye out for that if you are interested in all of the benefits that you can get. So I know I already said it, but yeah, Stairs got a D. I would not recommend watching it unless you want to watch something that's just like overly weird and really sucks at timelines. At the end of the video, I'll be thanking my current patrons. I know I usually ask if you've seen Stairs or how you felt about it, but I'm going to assume that nobody has seen Stairs and nobody should. So just thank you, as always, for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!